energy forecast for Thursday, October 5th. So today we do have the moon in Gemini, going void, of course, at 2:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will be shifting into Cancer energy at 8:33 a.m. Okay, so let's unpack. With the moon in Gemini energy, of course, it put a huge amount of attention on our mental plane, on new thoughts, on new ideas, on new feelings. We've been doing a lot of processing. We have a lot of questions. We are in exploration and research mode, and therefore the moon in Gemini definitely put us in a situation where we were a little bit more curious than we have been. The transition into Cancer energy, considering the fact that the moon is in a rulership in Cancer energy, we pulled back. So where we were social, where we were extroverted, where we wanted to kind of look outside of ourselves for stimulation, now we're pulling back. Now we're pulling inward. The Cancer energy, of course, is a water sign. We're highly emotional. We're super intuitive. We're very passive aggressive and semi-defensive, if we're being honest. But we really need to pull back and stick to what is comfortable. Stick to what is old, tried, tested, true, and familiar. Of course, the moon in Cancer definitely has us super connected to the past, very nostalgic, romanticizing the past in some instances. And of course, we need to kind of stick to what has been tried, tested, and true, very familiar, in order for us to kind of find a stable grounding point. It's very hard to find stability at this particular point in time, considering the fact that we're in Libra season where the scales are attempting to get into balance. We are really exploring the extremes in order to figure out what this middle point, new stable ground actually is. And for many of us with the moon in Cancer, we are very sentimental, a little bit more sensitive, a little bit more, I'm going to say, overly emotional than we normally are. But there's good reason for that. That's showing us where it is that we are having some really true rooted thoughts and feelings on what it is that we're moving away from and what it is that we're hesitant to move closer to. And there's a whole lot of revelation that comes at us when the moon is in Cancer. So, of course, there's 12 different aspects here today, 9 of them going to involve the moon. While the moon is in Gemini energy, we are going to get into the boxing ring and square off with Neptune. Neptune, of course, is retrograde in its place of power in this Pisces energy, giving us an opportunity to really take a good look at our wounds, at our problematic areas that most of the time, if Neptune was direct, we would avoid at all costs. There is an element of wanting to escape reality when it comes to Neptune and when it comes to Pisces. Of course, Neptune rules over our spirituality, our dreams, our creativity, and of course, our soul, spirit, contracts, karma, the whole kit and caboodle. Pisces energy is a water sign. It is very cleansing, very transformative, dealing with endings and closures where we have to kind of undo what it is that we've done in order to take on a new form. And as you know, we are currently dissolving the old form, the old self, the old reality in order to build new. So in this particular square that, of course, we're getting in, we're having a conflict, there's a little bit of a tension point, if you will. Neptune in the retrograde aspect of Pisces is having us really reflect back, reflect inward to see where it is that maybe we've been running and hiding from some wounds, some from pain, some from trauma. Maybe we're running from the ego self in which we've built. Some of us are running from different things. Some of us are running towards our dreams and visions, but yet not acknowledging the fears, the doubts, the insecurities that are preventing us from actually getting there. The moon in Gemini definitely divided in the way that we're thinking, the way that we're feeling. And with this Neptune in Pisces energy, it is almost like there's a conflict between the logical, practical mind of Gemini and the subtle energy, the emotional, intuitive insight trying to come in, trying to guide us from Neptune being retrograde in Pisces. So like there's this blockage, if you will. We need to balance the scales between bringing our brain and bringing our higher self with us so that we can mesh the logical, practical part of our intellect with the emotional and intuitive insights that we're trying to gain from our higher self. The moon in Gemini sextiles, beautiful interaction with Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money in the heart and soul of the zodiac in this Leo energy. This means that there is a harmonization, there is a gentle nudge, a gentle growth and progress moving forward. And because of this, this is putting us in a very good situation in our headspace, in our heart space, to identify what it is that we want, what it is that we need, what it is that we desire, what it is that we deserve. Again, Venus in this heart space trying to figure out who and what needs to stay, needs to go. And we're having some different perspectives emerge as of late on what that actually will look like if we follow through with the actions required to start kind of changing and rearranging our outer realm to match what it is that we've already arrived at in our inner realm. It's at this point in time that the moon is going to go void, of course. And when the moon goes void, we are a little bit shakier, a little bit unstable, a little bit uncertain, more so than when the moon is on his particular path moving forward. But this is an interesting time to start questioning some of the insights that we would have received over the last couple of days of having the moon be in this Gemini energy. So while the moon is still in Gemini energy, but void, of course, we have a very uncomfortable run-in with Pluto, the great transformer himself, who is retrograde in Capricorn energy, which is definitely going to intensify our thoughts, our feelings, that inner narrative. We're going to take a dive down the dark path, if you will, to see where it is that we're still using our past experiences as a justification on why we're not going to do certain things. Again, we tend to kind of fall in the not so nice narrative, the negative narrative, the victimhood mentality in order for us to break ourselves down so that we can build ourselves back up in a better way. Pluto is here to make a major change, a major transformation in our heart space, in our emotions, in our perspective, in our understanding. But sometimes we have to sit in that darkness in order to really appreciate the light. And sometimes we have to kind of create our own little breakdown in order to support a breakthrough. The moon then going to semi-square Jupiter. Jupiter is about growth and expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings. He's retrograde in this Taurus energy, giving us an opportunity to look within ourselves to see whether or not we are still on the right path of following our goals, following our dreams, creating new opportunities for growth, for expansion in our lives. And of course, this is a not nice interaction. So what we're doing here is we're getting caught up. We're getting blocked. We are allowing certain things, certain narratives, certain ideas, certain past experiences, memories, and emotions to get in the way of what it is that we want to build and create. So the moon goes ahead, makes a positive interaction with Chiron. Keep in mind, we're still in Gemini energy, but we're void, of course. It is very interesting that we're going to make a positive interaction with the wounded healer, who is retrograde in Aries energy, because what this does for us is it illuminates where it is that we got to flip the script. You know, Gemini energy, all about that inner narrative, all about, you know, our perspective, our understanding, what it is that we're telling ourselves, where it is that we're having a major focus. And up until this point, we've been kind of focused on the dark, on the not so nice, on the negative, if you will, on the blockages, the obstacles, and the challenges. This particular aspect opens us up to see, guess what? I have the power to flip the script. I have the power to adopt a new narrative, a new perspective, a new understanding. I have the power to not break myself down. I have the power to build myself back up. And this is when we're going to have not only a shift of heart, but a shift in our mental plane about who it is that we are, who it is that we desire to be, who it is that we need to become in order to be a vibratory match with the particular reality and outcome in which we're trying to manifest. And at 8:33 a.m., again, Eastern Standard Time, we will see the moon step into her power, into her rulership in Cancer energy, and you best believe that we are going to feel all the feels. 10:30 a.m., we're going to have our first aspect with the moon in Cancer, and let me just tell you, it is not a favorable one. We are getting into the boxing ring. We are squaring off with Mercury, fresh in this Libran energy. Okay, so the moon is our heart space. Mercury is our head space. We're getting into the boxing ring because we're not on the same page. Again, Mercury, fresh in this Libran energy. Go ahead, take a listen to the astro forecast if you haven't already. Download your zodiac forecast so you know where this is taking place in your life. And if you downloaded the Libra season e-guide, flip to this page, capture your thoughts, capture the energy, capture the topics and themes, because we're about to really just scratch the surface on what this particular transit is going to be. Nonetheless, Mercury in Libra energy, of course, wants to compromise, wants to negotiate, wants to find common middle ground, wants new information and details to come forth so that we can have a bigger, broader perspective than the tunnel vision in which we've been sitting in. Well, the moon and Mercury not on the same page. We're going to be highlighted to the problem areas, to where it is that we are in conflict, to where it is, how much distance, how much space is separating our current emotional stance and our current mental plane. Keep in mind that the Libran energy wants to look outside of ourselves, wants to bounce ideas off of other people, looking for validation from the outside world. The Cancer energy could care less. We're moving inside of ourselves. The only type of value that we are putting on anything outside of ourselves with Cancer energy is when it comes to our personal relationships, basically our closest friends, our closest family. But the Mercury in Libran energy is very happy-go-lucky, very shallow in the respect that we want everybody to think that everything is happy, tickety boo, right? We want this happy, bubbly, socialized personality. The Cancer energy is like, no, I'm done. I need to curl up into a ball here and worry about my damn self. So this is where the illumination of the distance of the gap between our heart and head is definitely going to come to the forefront. The moon then goes ahead and trines Saturn. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Saturn is retrograde in Pisces energy, again, helping us to dissolve and deconstruct who it is that we've been, the world in which we've created, the belief system in which we had in order to create that world. Because of course, if we continue doing what it is that we've already done, we're only ever going to get what it is that we've already got. We don't want that. We want to boss up. We're moving into new roles and responsibilities with this new karmic chapter that we just moved into. Lucky for us, this is a trine. A trine means that we have the Cancer energy, that is a water sign, a Pisces energy, that is a water sign, working together to emotionally change and transform our particular state of the here and now. What we're looking at here is a little bit of a serious and somber tone. Lucky for us, this is a positive energy, so we're not going to get too negative Nancy on us right now. But what this is doing is putting us in a situation to see our emotions very clearly, to see our reality very clearly, to see what is falling apart, what is falling away, what it is that we are making space in our lives for the new energies, the new interactions, the new soul contracts to actually be anchored in. So it's almost like we are building, if you will, a new perception, a new understanding of what needs to change. Now, granted, the moon in Cancer, not so happy with wanting to change. Again, very stuck in the past. But Saturn is kind of bringing a new perspective because we want to do what is right for our heart, for our soul. We want to do what is right for our soul's purpose, our soul's mission. And the karmic energies that we're now sitting in, trying to establish a new path forward, this is where Saturn, again, Lord of Karma, is coming in and saying, okay, that's great, but we've outgrown our old realm. We've outgrown it. You can be nostalgic about it. You can be sentimental about it. That's great. Grieve it. Do whatever it is that you got to do. But we do have to kind of orient our focus here on building something safer, something more stable, something more long-term. Because again, we've just shifted out of soul contracts and karmic lessons that we've outgrown. We've passed the test. We've reached that completion point, and now we're moving on. So here's where things get interesting. Mercury in this Libran energy, going to make a negative aspect, a not so nice aspect at all with Saturn shortly thereafter. This is going to bring on the mental pressure, okay? This is when maybe some mental anxiety is coming up. Maybe it's interfering with us being able to see things in the way that they actually are instead of the way that we wish that they would be. Maybe we are not as logical and practical as we need to be in order to kind of weigh the pros and cons of certain situations and circumstances. Maybe we're having a hard time trying to articulate and communicate ourselves. Maybe there is a very nasty, not so nice mental narrative playing out. Whichever way it's manifesting, there's a lot of pressure in the mental plane. And again, may I remind you, in Libran energy now, with Mercury in Libran energy, we have to live in the extremes of our mental plane in order to find a brand new balance, a brand new grounding point. So this is definitely going to make the scales go up and down and up and down. And just when we think we know something, suddenly we pick it apart. And suddenly when we think we're sure of something, the doubts, the fears, the insecurities start creeping in. So although this isn't a fun process, it's a super helpful process from us kind of pushing too hard to make a decision. Because of course, nobody's making any kind of decisions in Libra season, especially with Mercury being in Libra energy. So what we're able to do is understand where the anxiety, where the frustration, where the pressure is coming up, where we're banging our head against a wall, trying to resolve certain particular issues and circumstances and solve some, long-standing problems, but we're not doing it today, which means that we can step back. We can remind ourselves of what our goals are, what our objectives are, what it is that we have to kind of process and sort through and pick apart before we're going to have the information that we need in order to make an informed decision, which is what Libra season is all about. Gathering that information, doing an exploratory, really going into research mode to ask all the right questions, gain as much clarity as possible so that we can make an informed decision at the end of all this. So right after, we have Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, semi-squaring the sun in Libran energy. Oh my goodness. First of all, Venus is in her rulership in Libra season. She rules over the whole entire season. But she's still in her post-retrograde shadow period in the heart and soul of the zodiac, which is this Leo energy that she's sitting in. Let me just say that this is going to put us in a situation where irritability is going to be at an all-time high. Why is that? Okay, let's talk about it. First of all, Libra season is supposed to act as a mirror. So anything that we're observing outside of us, people, places, things, situations, topic, themes, circumstances, are a mirrored reflection to what it is that we're projecting from our inner realm, unconsciously or consciously, that's up to you, in our outer realm. Every single thing is a hint, is a clue to mirror back to us where it is that we're at in our inner realm, in our healing journey. Right now, with the sun and Venus semi-square, again, it creates tension and conflict. It's illuminating for us where it is that we're deeply bothered, agitated, irritated, sitting in a very uneasy place, especially observing the people closest to us. Where we're at right now is we want outside validation. This is what Libra season is all about. We want to be validated by other people. But should we be doing that? No. Venus in the Leo energy, we need to rely upon ourselves. Doesn't matter what other people think. It matters what we think, right? So what we're doing right now, like what we want to do and what we think we should do, are not on the same page, first of all. We want to be productive. We want to see progress, but we're not making any of that. So now we're irritated by that. And people are just rubbing us the wrong freaking way. But just understand that if you have a person triggering and activating that kind of energy within you, you need to take a good look within yourself to see where that particular wound is stemming from. Because if there wasn't a wound inside you that made you very uneasy with what it is that you're observing outside of yourself, you wouldn't be observing it. Plain and simple. So again, sun shining a bright light in this Libran energy. What do we have to do to not be irritated, to find that middle point, to find that common ground, for us to be happy in our lives, tickety-boo, butterflies and rainbows? Again, Venus in this Leo energy, the heart and soul of the zodiac, is a lot more realistic. Understanding that, guess what? Although there is this pull to people please, to make other people happy, to consider other people's thoughts and feelings because of this Libra season that we're in, what really matters is the way that we're feeling, what we're doing to honor our own heart space, what we need to be doing to fully express our wants, needs, and desires to other people. So instead of constantly saying, oh, I should just kind of bite my tongue and just keep the peace with other people, even though that's going to start a war within myself, what we're doing now is we're trying to balance the scales, if you will, on how it is that we can still honor ourselves, put ourselves first, only rely on ourselves for confirmation, validation for what it is that we're thinking and feeling, and yet still not close the door totally to other people, because of course, consideration for other people, especially if they're very close to you, it is needed. But we don't want to be so intertwined and engulfed with other people that we lose what is important to us in our heart space. So again, Venus still trying to work this out. She's been sitting in it since June. She's coming to a completion point, but we're not there yet. Okay, another not so nice aspect here. Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, even our anger. He's stuck in the weakest placement that he could possibly be at, which is this Libra energy. Mars in Libra, not having a very good time. He would prefer to take action and deal with the consequences later, and he's not allowed to take any actions, make any moves, because he's stuck in the intellectual battlefield of Libran energy, trying to sort through the pros and cons of every single potential move and action we could take. So it's very frustrating. Mars is interacting with Neptune. Neptune is retrograde in Pisces energy. What is this going to do? Well, it's going to show us where it is that we're feeling stuck. And because we're feeling stuck, because we're not seeing a path forward, because we're not gaining the clarity that we thought we would have by now we're getting a little bit angry and agitated. Now we're super uncertain about what it is that we truly want, where it is that we actually want to go, what it is that we want to pour our time and energy in. This is us just ripping anything that we were even possibly sure of down to the ground. Okay, why is this? Well, because we're not connected with our spirituality at this point. We're not connected to our true emotional needs. We have overlooked what it is that we need to do within ourselves in order to balance the scale between the mind, body, and soul, because we're constantly looking outside of ourselves in order to create something, in order to be validated in something. And therefore, we are so connected to this materialistic realm in our ego selves that we haven't been filling up our cup spiritually or emotionally speaking. Okay, so this is putting us in a situation where we're not feeling so hot. We're not feeling so confident. We're not feeling so prepared. We're not feeling so sure. We're not feeling so certain. What we are sure about is that we have ants in our pants and we're angry and we're frustrated and we want to make a move, but we can't. And so we're just kind of sitting in this funk. So it is time to realize where it is that either A, you are trying to initiate a path and a plan that your ego wants you to pursue, that your higher self is not in support of, or B, you haven't really given yourself enough time to realign and recalibrate, which is what we're doing here in this new karmic chapter, in order for the mind, the body, the soul to be in agreement and alignment in order to clear the way in your mental plane, in your higher self, to see the proper path and strategy and plan to actually move forward. We're not there yet. We have ants in our pants. This is a time of adjustment. Libra season in its entirety is adjustment. Nobody likes the adjustment phase. Nobody likes the transitional phase from the old to the new. Nobody likes jumping into new territory. Nobody likes it. And things aren't going as fast as we would like. And so we're just kind of stewing, if you will, in our own wah, wah, blah, blah, yeah, yeah. That's the mood. That's the vibe. And many of us are very happy to be sitting in it. Even though we want to change it, we're not doing anything in the moment to change it. So we're just going to sit in the wah, wah for a little bit longer. The moon, thank goodness, is going to make a positive interaction with the North Node in Aries. So the North Node in Aries is our destiny point. It's the path that we need to be on to reach our soul's mission, our soul's purpose at this particular juncture of the karmic cycle. The moon, again, highly intuitive, super emotional. Interacting with the North Node is a gentle nudge to say to the moon in Cancer that would prefer to look back in the past instead of thinking about the future, hey, where is it when looking back to the past that you are at a completion point and ready to let something go? Hey, where is it that you've been banging your head against the wall trying to make something happen that obviously isn't happening? And where is it that you think that you're being kind of called to the universe to grow in a different direction? These particular hey, instead of taking a good look behind you, why don't you just take a pause and be present enough to contemplate what you'd like to do moving forward? This is exactly what we need to do in very small doses with the moon in Cancer in order to figure out what it is that we would be satisfied and content with to move away from in the here and now. And don't be surprised if it's not a whole lot. This is likely not a huge shift, a huge change. We're talking baby steps here. But emotionally speaking, there is this question coming up, especially after those not so nice aspects that I just rattled off, where there is an illumination, an aha moment, an epiphany, if you will, maybe I am the one to decide to stop banging my head against a wall and to stop pushing myself to figure out everything in my life in a snap of the fingers. Maybe I can give myself permission to just stay in this present moment. Maybe I can think just a tad about the future. Maybe I can just bring a little bit of curiosity and wonderment back to this particular process and alleviate the pressure that I've been putting on myself. That choice is up to you. The last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in Cancer semi-squaring, which again creates a little bit of a tension point, a little bit of a conflict this time with Mr. Uranus. Uranus is the great awakener. He's retrograde in Taurus energy, and the whole point of him being retrograde in Taurus energy is to illuminate for us where it is that we're actually fearful and resisting the changes in which we've been praying for. Now that seems like a conundrum. Why, if we were praying for change, are we not answering the door when opportunity knocks? Well, probably because the moon in Cancer has us so connected to what is old, tried, tested, and true, what is comfortable and familiar, that we don't really care that our prayers are being answered, that opportunity is knocking on our door right now. We just want to sit in this little comfy realm of what was, and just remind ourselves that we can sit here without any added pressure to create something in a realm that hasn't even been brought to life yet. And instead, we're going to sit here and just hold on to everything that we've already built and created. Now, why is that a problem, you may ask? Well, because there's no growth there. There's no evolution. We've already beat the boss. We've already kind of completed the level, completed the mission. So, when you get to the end of the video game, you beat the whole video game, you have two choices. You can retire that video game with the stats in which you have and put it on your shelf and know that you did it, you completed it, you beat the boss, you beat the game. Or what happens? You get to choose to start over. And again, we're in a new karmic chapter where the question is, are we evolving, moving on, growing, making some progress? Or are we revolving, staying with the same old, and of course getting what it is that we've already got?